So let me introduce you to Janez Dovžan. Did I pronounce it correctly?
More or less.
More or less, yeah. I was afraid so. He is the commercial director of PAM Turnkey Solutions of Bragg, and you're going to talk about how to elevate the player journey through sustainable growth, through responsible engagement. So the floor is yours. Good luck.
Thank you. I just press this? Yeah, perfect. Okay. So I was thinking a lot about how to start today, the discussion. And I'm actually very happy to see that, every other speaker today before me already made the case for me. Because we see basically in our operations across different highly regulated markets, kind of the same situation happening as we also see here in the Netherlands and as we hear today in the talks. So we see the acquisition costs high and going up. We see the revenue per player capped, stricter limits are being enforced, and so on. So the situation in the market is like we heard today so many times. And digging a bit deeper into this, why this is happening, we've heard this as well. So, marketing limitations. I remember coming here a couple of years ago, there were full city of signs of casino operators and so on. Now this is gone and other restrictions are coming. All sorts of limits that we saw last year in the Netherlands, also similar in other markets where we operate. Outlook of other limits, cross-operator limits and so on, which gives a great environment for the illegal operators. And maybe a funny story with illegal operators. Last year at the IGB here in Amsterdam, I took an Uber from the venue. So Uber picks me up and we talk to this guy and he says, "Oh, what's happening? There are so many people here and getting calls for a ride." And I tell him it's a conference. What kind of conference? Gaming, iGaming, okay. And he says, "Oh, I'm also playing online." And I say, "Oh, great. Which operator are you using?" And he said, "Bad City," which I was really happy to hear. And then we discussed some more and he said, "But also all my friends are playing and I'm the only one using a Dutch operator. I'm the only one on Bad City. Everyone else is on Crypto Casino or on some foreign sites." So, you get this information from an Uber driver here in Amsterdam that basically he's the only one he knows that's playing in a legal casino. So that's the situation in the market. And now how to grow from this, how to grow sustainably, how to stay compliant, how to still make money in this situation. How to choose? Do you have to choose between growth and being compliant? That's kind of the question for today. And we at Bragg, we've been operating and offering cutting-edge solutions for iGaming industry for over 10 years in different markets. We operated a lot in the German market before it regulated with Online Casino Deutschland. Then we were launching on day one with Bad City in the Netherlands when the market opened. Now, currently, about 30 to 35% of the Dutch market goes through our platform. And we have basically three business verticals. One is content. We're also a game provider. We have our own studios in Europe, in the US. And we offer content to clients, basically worldwide, tier one clients across the globe. Then the second one, we're an aggregator. Bragg Hub has 100 plus game providers integrated. We offer that as well to clients in different markets worldwide. And then there's the third one, which is the platform Turnkey Solutions, where we offer the whole package of products, but as well managed services to clients in highly regulated markets, like in the Netherlands. And where we offer services, we often offer also marketing services. So we help and we do marketing together with the operator in those markets. So we do have, I think, quite a good understanding and an insight into what's happening and what's working and what's not working. We have teams that do this, on a daily basis and have an idea. And what they see is that things are changing. So some things that were working in the past, like really aggressive bonusing, a lot of focus on bonusing connected to deposit, push for deposit, really aggressive language towards players, all the problems that come with that, of course. But this was something that was happening in the markets and was working good. And that's in the markets that we're now in. not that good anymore. Either it's not possible, or it's very expensive. It's very difficult to do that and compete with illegal operators in the price wars and so on. So things are changing. That doesn't mean that bonusing is not relevant anymore. We just rolled out a completely new bonus engine because we think you need a better system, a better bonusing system, more personalized, more options, and so on, because you still need it also in these markets. But there is a general shift going into something else that drives players to come back and to play on the casino than just this push for deposits. And so apart from the bonusing system, we have a range of other products that address this issue. Fuse, which we're going to talk about in a minute, it's a set of player engagement tools. Then we have a CRM, loyalty system, CMS for the web page, and so on. So there's a whole range of products available from our stack. Very similar also with other providers. And where things are moving to is that these tools and this kind of stack is now more and more powered through transparency, personalization, entertainment, trust, and so on. So these other things that are becoming important in these markets. There's still the underlying, the whole infrastructure and everything regarding responsible gaming. That's not changing. There's still the segmentation, the interventions, the whatnot in different markets. That's still there. But there's also this shift towards a healthy interaction enjoyment that goes into the design of this product and solution itself. So we are thinking about this when we're designing new features, designing new tools, how to build in more of this pristine excitement, entertainment, luck, instead of just the pure push for a deposit or something like that, very direct, very brute force on the player. And I'll give a couple of examples basically on two different topics. One is more on personalization, 2 slides on that, and then a couple of slides on the engagement. And these are, it's like more a brainstorming. There's no, fixed way of looking at this and what's working how. But in terms of personalization, so we see that personalization works well in boosting sustainable trust, in boosting loyalty, in boosting confidence of players, playing in the casino. And even here, we can apply personalization across our products. They're all talking to each other, and so on. And we used to do that kind of event-based. With event, again, we mean deposit, so or something similar. And there would be personalization linked to that. If you deposited something, then you would be enrolled in something, and you would get a nice banner or something like that. So that's a possibility. But we're going forward, and we see a lot of action, a lot of operators using more advanced personalization, maybe connecting not to these events, but maybe to some sort of other activities, some engagement activities. Like, for example, if you're participating in a certain quest as a player, and you win, or you're among, I don't know, top 3 or something, you get enrolled in a tournament that's personalized, that's exclusive, and so on. So this kind of activities, this kind of personalization, we see is really got a lot of traction in certain markets when used in the right way. Then the second one has to do with Fuse, with our engagement tool set. Here, there's a lot of tools available within this product. And that's already one of the features that drives engagement. So there's the variety, there's the choice for the operator to really offer a lot of different things all the time, and so on to the players. So players can come back only because of this, not necessarily for some other reasons. So there's one positive. The second one is that a lot of this are based on the activity, not directly on the money spent, but on the excitement of the activity, on just the fact that you're participating in these activities keeps you coming back. And Fuse runs on top of the casino vertical, runs on top of the sportsbook vertical. There are different cross-sell opportunities for engagement and so on. So it's quite a powerful tool itself. It's easy to use. If it's not easy to use, that's not really a feature. It's like a must. If it's not easy to use, no one will use it, not the operator, not the player. So that's more of a must. What is important for engagement is that it builds familiarity and trust, because it runs out of the box on all the games from all the game providers that go through our aggregator, which means that the player has the same kind of experience, same kind of feeling, same look and feel, no matter if it's a game from Evolution, from Pragmatic, from Bragg, doesn't matter. The player will always get the same feeling and the same experience in the engagement tools that they use, so they're not getting confused. That's one point. And the other one is that it's still connected to the old school responsible gaming engine and so on. So if a player is at risk or it's somehow flagged, players will not see any of this. So they don't even get into the situation of being targeted by any of such promotions. Then the specific tools, free rounds, it's kind of a more basic tool in there, but it still it can promote diversity. Operators can use it to steer players into different directions. More advanced tournaments, leaderboards, they're very powerful with loads of different mechanics in there. What we see, for example, working great is some blitz tournaments, so tournaments that are set up and then there are retries to make players feel that they have more chances, they can try again and so on. So it's quite engaging in the way it can be configured. At the same time, again, it's connected to the RG and responsible gaming itself by covering also all sorts of edge cases. What happens if a player becomes at risk while he's playing a tournament? There are different options and so on. So it's really being considered from these directions when being designed as a feature. Quests, this one is interesting to play and everything, but it was a lot of work went into designing it, into how to make it transparent so that the player knows where it is in the process, so that if there needs to be an opt-in, that there's an opt-in, terms and conditions are available, and so on. So this is one of the features that makes it interesting, the transparency part. But also it can be used, again, to boost something else than just strictly depositing or wagering. You can set it up for, like the example there, play 5 different games instead of just pushing for wagering on deposit. So again, a way to incentivize players to do more. Push notifications, that can be, I'll skip it, it's too simple. But this one is interesting. It's the recommendation engine. This one has a lot of traction currently amongst our clients. So AI-powered with different options how to show this. We see a lot of gameplay resulting from players clicking on the recommended games. And again, this can be used to either promote diversity, to engage players by just giving them more options, showing them more options that they have. So they'll come back for that. Or to maybe steer them into directions away from more risky games or whatever, depends on the setup and the type of player that you're dealing with, but quite powerful also in this respect. Flash jackpots, marketing powered jackpots that run on top of basically any game. Interesting for the operators, since they can plan marketing budget and the spend, but also for the players, kind of they don't participate their money into this, but still get the excitement. Quite a popular tool as well. I won't go into details on the sportsbook part, but the whole Fuse ecosystem also supports sportsbook. So there are very similar set of tools or similar tools built on top of the sportsbook vertical. Again, runs out of the box on the sportsbooks that we have integrated. But you can then also do all sorts of cross-sell or cross-promotions, like offering, I don't know, a free spin if you win something on a sportsbook and so on. So driving players into from one vertical to the other. What's good is that, again, you have the same look and feel, the same experience. So the familiarity part is, again, here, right? So the players will not be confused. They'll be happy to come back because they will already know how the things work, and they're not something strange going on in the casino, but it's something they've tried before. But what the sportsbook part is offering is, again, leaderboards, quests, bounties, journeys, and so on. So different kinds of mechanics that can be run on any of the sportsbooks. We just got, like 2 days ago, a fresh set of data on how these tools actually perform across the markets, across operators. So it's not a market specific, it's not just for the Netherlands, but across everything. We did some analysis already on the data that we have. We see quite an uplift of key KPIs comparing players who are participating in these promotions to the ones that were not. Now, the data now, of course, cannot, at this stage at least, totally differentiate between promotions that are still bonus-based or old-school-based and the ones that are totally on the engagement and so on. So it's a bit mixed, but we see that, and we're quite sure that at least the total lifetime days, total games played, which also see quite an increase in numbers, are very directly tied to the type of engagement that come with views, that come with all these modern engagement tools. So they are promoting quite a bigger number of games being tried. People come back more often to the casino. They come back not because they are pushed to deposit something, but because they are incentivized to try different games, to do a tournament, to participate in some sort of activities. So this kind of tools, the ones that I've shown, others as well, they're designed basically to support the whole player life cycle, from acquisition to reactivation. The imagination and the regulator are only two limitations here, what can be done. Not everything that we have can be used in every market. Not everything can be used in Netherlands, for example, we know that. But there is really a lot of options of what operators can do. So at the end, I think we are quite confident that, as an operator, you don't have to choose between growth and staying compliant. With tools like that, with thinking outside of the box, thinking outside of just deposit, pushing for a deposit, pushing for a bonus, pushing for something like that, you can actually incentivize players with more fun, more engaging tools like this, others as well, to come and play, even in markets that are quite demanding, like we heard today so many times. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janez. Any questions from the room? No questions? Well, maybe I have one for you then. I warned you. I mean, you said that not all of what you have on the platform of the tools can be used in the Netherlands, but do you see any particular challenges for sportsbook platform provider operating on the Dutch market?
In terms of what can be done and...
Yeah, well, but to be compliant and to make sure your product is both compliant and can perform.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, there are always a lot of things to do to stay compliant in the Dutch market. That's something that
I know about it.
Yeah, something that we are working on a daily basis together with the operators, and making sure that we're compliant every day. I think there needs to be some kind of balance, and I hope there will be a balance between what's allowed and what's not allowed, especially when we're talking about tools that are more sort of player-friendly, even in this engagement, that really push more for the kind of pristine interest in the game, in the excitement, not just chasing higher deposit or players chasing higher wins, but chasing maybe some other type of excitement. And I think that this sort of things, I hope, will be able to offer them also in this market in the future.
Okay. Still no questions from the room? Now's the time to ask. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.